Today we embark on a transformative journey exploring the keys to connecting with higher energies, understanding divine power, and unlocking your true purpose. Welcome to the Sabrina Show, the ultimate destination for captivating conversations and thought-provoking discussions. I'm your host, Sabrina, and in this episode, I chat with priestess, energy healer, and spiritual life coach, Chintal, and wellness and spiritual life coach, Urvashi. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and enable notifications, and leave your comments in the section below. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I'm super excited because today I'm planning to awaken my spirit. I have two fabulous ladies with me. I have Chintal and I have Urvashi. Welcome to the Sabrina Show.
Thank you.
I'm excited to get this particular episode started because actually I feel like I'm at the very beginning of my spiritual journey. And I'm hoping that we're going to kind of go through different realms, different things. And I think a lot of people feel like this level of conversation or this sort of conversation is very woo-woo. And I want to break that down a little bit. So welcome to the show, ladies. Before we get started, Chintal, let's start with you. Tell the audience and everyone at home that's watching and me a little bit about yourself.
So thank you so much for having me today. I'm really excited. And my name's Chintal and I am so many different titles, but intuitive energy healer, a spiritual life coach, a priestess, energy healer. I'm a therapist as well. So I've combined everything into what I do now to really help support women to really connect with their soul. And we work through releasing layers and layers of trauma and beliefs, your shadow work, your inner child, your generational trauma, because those are all the things that are actually stopping you from really connecting with that essence that's within you. Yeah. So through that work, I then help them to really raise their vibration, but also then transition and transcend into their higher consciousness. And It's all about connecting with the sacred feminine that is actually within every single woman, and to awaken their intuition as well. Because women are so intuitive, and the amount of gifts that women have, sadly, so much of it has been suppressed, and it's time for women to really reclaim that power. And that's what I'm here to do.
Chintal, I'm so excited to deep dive. Like, I feel like already, just with how you introduce yourself, you have a wealth of knowledge and experience behind you. And I know that the audience is going to take so much away from this conversation, and as am I. So I can't wait to get started.
Thank you.
Urvashi, welcome.
Hi.
Tell us a little bit about you.
So I am a Dharma, wellness and spiritual life coach. I am here to help women really connect with themselves and come home to their bodies.
Wow.
So understand who they are from within. And I do that by using 5 different pillars, with the main one being their health and their wellness, as well as their mental and emotional health. So it's all about, like, how can you be the best version of you if your health and your wellness and your mental health is not in the right place. Can you imagine someone who sits on a couch all day, drinking Coke, eating pizza, going, yeah, I want to live my purpose? No, darling, it's not going to happen. You need to work on yourself from within first. And like Chin, I'm here to help raise the vibration of the planet.
Yeah, amazing. I love your approach. I love your no nonsense approach, because I feel like a lot of people feel like, oh, I'll write my gratitude, and I'll just do my manifestations, and everything's just going to happen for me. But actually, to be real and raw and honest, you're actually doing a service for people and bringing out their truth. So amazing. Let's get started. Let's not even bloody waste time. Let's get into the nitty gritties. Doing a little bit of research, the biggest thing that came up, which I want to get started off, was higher energies, spiritual beings. What does this mean? And once you kind of figure out what this all means, how do I connect with this? And why is it beneficial for me to connect with higher energies and spiritual beings? Who wants to get started?
I think that's a Chin one.
Yeah. Go on, Chin.
So then I'll jump in.
First of all, I really want to, and I want to share this with the audience as well. I really want people to understand that there is a big difference between spirituality and religion. Yes. Both are not the same. Because a lot of the time when you have the conversations around spirituality, the first thing people will say, but I'm not religious. Spirituality has got nothing to do with religion. Spirituality is about knowing that actually we are really tiny particles. Yeah. If we look at and when we talk about transcending, we're basically talking about looking at things from a higher perspective. It's a bird's eye view. So when we really take ourselves out, you take yourself out into the cosmos and you start looking at everything from, a higher perspective. We're really tiny particles.
Yeah.
Right? So if you think about it, universe, that is, universal life force energy. We are all energetic beings. Energy runs through us. Everything is energy. The chair you're sitting on has energy. The table, the tea, whatever you're having, everything is energy. So I want people to understand first have that understanding that religion and spirituality are two separate things. Spirituality is knowing that there is greater forces than you around. So, we all know, like, we have what we talk about, that when you're saying about the higher energies, we talk about the higher consciousness.
Yeah.
And that's what comes from kind of right above. But we are spiritual beings in a human body.
Right.
All right? We're spiritual beings in a human body having a human experience.
Yes.
It's not the other way around. We are on this earth, and actually, well done to everyone who's decided to take birth on this planet, because it's the most toughest planet to be living in.
Yeah.
But we all chose to be here. Our souls have had that contract. So we've all chosen to be here. And what that basically means is we have to navigate through this world, this 3D world that people talk about, the materialistic world that people talk about. But we also have to imagine it's not just one way. We have to be also connected with our roots, our grounding, our mother nature, and then the spirituality. But always walking and living your day-to-day life, knowing that actually whatever is happening, it's happening for you. So a lot of the times what that means is every single individual will go through what we call a life quake in their life. And that is, people go through the cycle of, death, birth. You go through whether it's, house move, whatever it is, something happens, traumas, all those things happen. And people become very victimized into, oh my God, why did this happen to me?
Yeah.
And you flip that into, okay, what is this teaching me? What is the reason this has happened for me? How am I now growing through this? That's when you have that connection with your higher self, the higher consciousness, and the spiritual self, which you are then saying, okay, I understand what we're going through. This is a human emotion that we're experiencing. It is hard. It is tough. But then also leaning into that faith of the spiritualness, the spiritual higher consciousness, that this has happened for a reason. This is temporary. But I have full faith, and this is where the surrendering comes in as well.
Right.
And you have full faith that you can actually walk through this situation with that level of ease and confidence. And then you have the right people around you to support.
Yeah.
So that's where I would come from on a, real kind of basic point of view of understanding that there is a big difference between spirituality and religion. However, there is then also the element of, yes, you can bring your religious faith into your spirituality.
But what I wanted, me being at the very beginning of this journey and learning this, and I feel like many people that may be watching, they might be in the same position as me. I know that there is higher powers than me. I feel it in my soul. I know that we all are energy beings. But I want to harness that energy and I want to sharpen my focus. How do I do that?
One very simple way of doing it is to go inwards. And that's what a lot of people search externally.
Yeah.
The answers you seek are within you.
Right.
And this is why with the work that I do, I always say to people, you come on that journey, you go on that journey within. What's happening? Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world.
Right.
So in order for you to have that connection, you've got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And that one very simple way of starting somewhere, and I know this and I speak it from my own personal experience as well, because when I was first starting this journey, I used to get really irritated when people used to say, oh, just go and meditate. I'm like, I can't sit. I couldn't sit for like 2 minutes.
I thought it was only me. Seriously, like I really struggle with meditation.
Can I just say, I really actually wanted to deck people if they wanted to say this to me. I'm like, all right, You're telling somebody who can't sit for 5 minutes to go and meditate.
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like?
Yeah.
And then you've got YouTube. Now you've got apps as well. So you go through everything. And what happens? You go into a state of freeze, overwhelmed, then you don't do anything because procrastination kicks in. Simplest thing, which is what I guide all of my clients to do as well. Don't overthink it.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that you've got that is always with you until the day you die is your breath.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Focus on your breath. Your breath is your life force energy. You're breathing. What are you breathing in?
Yeah.
What are you breathing out? So I always say, just sit there. Again, don't overwhelm things. Put a 2-minute timer on. Your breath becomes your focus. So although, and when it comes to meditation, you get, on an average day, you probably get about 60 to 90,000 thoughts a day. Meditation, the aim of meditation is not to stop those thoughts.
Yeah.
It's to really, yes, have those thoughts going through, but you're just still carrying on without allowing yourself to be consumed in those thoughts. So the simplest way would be allow yourself 2 minutes. Everyone can do 2 minutes. And then build it up to 5 minutes. Just sit there, focus on your breath in and out. No, so many people do not take conscious breath.
And Usha, I want to ask you, when you was starting your spiritual journey, what was that like for you? What were some of the emotions that you went through?
Wow, starting my spiritual journey, I guess you think, like Chin said, right? You start with the meditation. People go, try the meditation, you try all the apps and everything. But actually it's so much more than that. You have to go deep. And for me, with my traumas that I've had and the challenges that I faced on this planet, which I genuinely believe I chose because those challenges have made me who I am today. They don't define me, but they make me. Having to face up to what happened when I was 7 years old, what happened when I was 21 years old, and face what happened, even in my late 20s. It's really, you go really deep. Like there's a lot of tears, a lot of pain. You're bringing it back to the surface, and you're dealing with what happened back then today. So for me, it's been a really deep journey since probably the age of around 36 when I had my third spiritual awakening, by the way.
Wow.
Like literally spirit has been doing this for like the last 10 years, going, wake up, Urvashi, wake up. So since then, it's been pretty deep, and I've worked with like healers and, counselors and therapists and RTT and all of this kind of stuff. But one thing I would say is that when you start your spiritual journey, don't expect it to be all fluffy and all nice. It is not going to be fluffy, because if you are being true to yourself, the only way you can become your highest self, live that purpose, live your truest self, and be completely embodied is by dealing with the crap that you have to deal with.
So Ushi, the reason why I asked you that question is because I'm at the very beginning of my spiritual journey, and I thought that this journey was going to be all fluffy yoga pants. I'm going to put on the cute outfit and I'm going to stretch out on the yoga mat, and that's it. And I'm going to
not unicorns and fairies.
That's what I thought. Like I thought it's going to be so easy. I'm going to connect with myself, and that's it. I'm going to know it all. But deep diving into myself, I realized it's hard. It's messy, and there's lots of things bubbling in the coming up to the surface. And I want to talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
Because let's talk about the reality of deep diving into yourself and what that looks like.
So I'm not going to say don't do the yoga, right? Because that could be your entry into spirituality, right? When you look at yoga as a source, it isn't just about the asanas or the poses. It goes much deeper than that. So you can start your spiritual journey with yoga or breath or meditation. So, talking about the messiness of it all, when you get to the messiness of it all, you have to accept it. You have to accept that this is your mess, that actually you chose this mess.
Right.
And that's
hard.
Yeah, I know.
I find that really difficult. Like,
acceptance is very tough.
Yes.
And this is where, but you have to face up to it.
You have to.
Okay.
Because otherwise you are literally spiritual bypassing and going, yes, I'm doing my yoga. Yes, I'm doing my meditation. Yes, I'm going on hikes in Sedona Valley. I'm in a vortex. Yay.
But there might be people that's watching this thinking, well, hold on a minute. I've had some really hard things happen to me. How do I accept it? Or how do I say that, I chose for this to happen?
Yeah. Wow, that's a big question. Yeah, so how do you accept that? I think for me, it's about going, well, what has this taught me? What do I need to learn from this lesson?
Yeah.
How has it created the person who I am today? And then how do I break out of that mold to become my highest self?
Yeah.
Like, the only reason we have lessons in this lifetime is because we are here to then service others with the teachings of those lessons.
Right.
You know, we can go deeper into my story if you want to, but my story was pretty dark at one point, but I had to learn the lessons from that, why I let that happen, and then be able to teach others, actually, you don't need to have barriers up around you all the time, you know, and then you will be able to serve others along the way and actually find joy and peace and light within yourself. But the healing never stops. Right. You're still going to continue. Like, there's always going to be something that triggers you or something that comes up.
Right.
So you're going to have to face something every day, every year,
your
every month.
Deepest, darkest demons, isn't
your
it?
shadow self.
It's the shadow self. Yeah. And, you know, this is why, again, it is, like Ush said, it's not just, you know, I always say it's not all about the love and light brigade. Yeah. We have to accept, you know, as a whole, as individuals, whether you're a man or whether you're a woman, we're whole beings.
Yeah.
That includes the light and the dark.
Yeah.
That includes the good and the bad.
Yeah.
And
duality, isn't it?
It's duality, but bringing that duality into oneness. It's accepting that duality into oneness. It's not saying, well, that's the shadow side, but that's the light side, you know? It's kind of saying, actually, we accept both, you know? And there's no shame in accepting that. Yeah. There's no guilt in accepting that. So if something that's happened or some, you know, it's a trigger or a wound or it's an upset, accept it. But then let's look at, okay, how we work through it. It's a messy journey.
Yeah.
But when you get onto the other side of it, it is actually such a beautiful place.
And you're going to have to do more than journaling.
And it's more than journaling. Yeah, it is. Because we go, you know, with this work, you've got to dive really deep.
What else should I be doing to really connect with myself and to be journeying even deeper?
No, go on.
I always say work with somebody who's going to support you, because when I first started this journey, yes, initially I started with the self-healing, the meditation, all of that kind of was, it's like Ush said, it's that pathway.
Yeah.
Because healing comes in layers. When you've had stuff that's happened to you over time. I mean, you know, when I first used to think of the word trauma, I was like, no, I don't have trauma. I had a great life. I had a great childhood, you know, and I did. But then what I hadn't realized was things I experienced as a child, you know, it's not normal for like a 5-year-old to be stuck in riots where there's machetes and stuff. I grew up thinking that was normal because I was in Africa.
Yeah.
But I hadn't realized how much that had dysregulated my nervous system. I was in constant, you know, fight and flight for over 2 decades of my life.
Yeah.
My body was used to being in constant, you know, the flight,
your
fight mode.
sympathetic nervous system.
Yeah, constantly. And that's why meditation was hard for me.
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden you're trying to switch it off. You're like, whoa, what's going on? The body doesn't, so the embodiment side of things comes in stages, and your body has to feel safe. And this is where, when you work with somebody who's been through this, who's been through that journey, who's able to hold that sacred space for you, the safe space for you to feel safe. That's why we always say, yes, there is a path to doing this work on your own, but it's actually a lot more rounded when you actually work with somebody. Yes, there's journaling questions you can do. You can start. There's self-reflection that you can start doing. A lot of the time what will happen is you'll notice resistance comes through. And that resistance, and then the ego mind kicks in. Oh, you don't want to go there.
Yeah. I have some really exciting news. Being a small business owner myself, I'm always looking for ways to taking my business to the next level. It's really important for me that I'm showcasing my brand, products or services in a way that really talks to my ideal client. We're offering a variety of sponsorship packages that will help you do exactly that. Could your next client be watching the show? Your brand will be showcased to our engaged audience right in the middle of their favorite show. From shout outs to full-on dedicated segments, we have a package that will suit your brand's needs. Reach out today and let's make your brand the star of the show. Drop us an email to find out more. when I'm doing the deeper work within myself and I'm looking back at certain scenarios and situations, the biggest thing is the accountability of the action that I played in that part. A lot of the time when you look at certain things that experiences that you've been through, you look at what that person said to you, how that person made you feel. But actually now I'm starting to the reflection, how could I have done better in that?
How did you contribute to that?
Exactly. How did I contribute? How could I have made that scenario better? How could I have handled it better? And then when you're holding up a mirror to yourself, actually you realize, actually I'm not the most perfect person that I built up in my head. I got issues too.
We all have issues, don't we?
Everyone's got issues in their tissues, like people would say.
Oh, issues in your tissues. I like that. I like that.
Deepa said that. Deepa used to always say that, bless her.
Yeah. So I feel like maybe that's like a form of resistance for me. We're taking our audience on a journey. We've discovered that there is spiritual beings, higher energy, higher things out there that's higher than us. We've talked about ways in which we can tap into that. Now I want to move a little bit forward, because as I was researching into this, divine purpose, everyone is out there looking for their purpose. What's my purpose? What's the difference between purpose and divine purpose? And how do I hone into what my actual divine purpose is?
So I guess purpose and divine purpose, it's the reason you were born on this planet. Like Chin says, you chose this planet, and you chose one of the hardest planets to live on because you have a reason to being here.
Right.
But to get to that divine purpose, you've got to go through the muck, a bit like the lotus goes through the mud and flowers at the end, right?
Sure.
That whole enlightenment piece.
Yeah.
But your purpose, most people's purpose, and I'm not saying everybody definitely has a purpose, or a lot of people go, I have no purpose, I live in this 3D world. Most people's purpose here is to be of service. Right. In some way or another. Now that doesn't necessarily mean doing what Chin and I do and holding space for people. It could be that you, Sabrina, bake the most beautiful cake for someone and that brings joy to their life. That is your purpose, right? Or you doing this beautiful show and bringing information and knowledge and sharing that to others out there. That is your purpose, right? If your purpose should never feel hard.
Yeah.
It should come with ease. Now what the universe does is when you go on a path, you imagine purpose as your highway, your path, right? And you go on this purpose path and then you go, oh look, someone else is doing this thing, I'm going to do that too.
Yeah.
But the universe goes, no, that's not for you, and just kind of knocks you on the head and goes, and you're like, oh wait, maybe that wasn't right, but you keep going down that path. And then it's like, no, let's bash you on the head. This is not your path. What the universe is trying to do is get you back to your path.
Right.
So whenever you veer off, say you're on the highway of purpose, you veer off onto something. Say I decide that, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to do, I don't know, some kind of a retreat in Africa. It's not aligned with me, right? So the universe is going to do everything it can to knock me back to my purpose.
Right.
So your purpose should come easy to you and you should feel joyful doing it.
The passion.
The passion needs to be there.
But what do I do to find, like, I know what my purpose is, but people that are watching, the audience that are watching, a lot of them, even with conversations that I've had, people are lost.
Yeah. So there's a blueprint.
Yeah, so tell us about this blueprint, girl. Get to the nitty gritty.
There's a Dharma blueprint, right?
Yeah.
So you need to know who you are and what your archetypes are to begin with.
Right.
Like everyone is born with, you know, when it comes to Dharma archetypes, 9 different archetypes in different levels. You may be an entertainer, you may be a healer, you may be an activist, you may be whatever it is. So whatever your top 2 archetypes are, that is what your purpose is.
Right.
But a lot of the time, your bottom archetype, you need to hone the skill to come into your purpose as well.
Right.
Then, so you've got your archetypes, you've got the things that you're good at. What are you good at, right? What do people come to you for? Why do people come and talk to you? Like, what kind of advice do they need?
Right.
Like, you've got to realize at that point that actually comes really easy to you. Maybe that is your purpose, right?
Yeah.
The challenges you face. What challenges have you faced? Have you helped others get through? Have you maybe come across in your lifetime and you've gone, you know, I want to help gut people with gut issues, you know, IBS or whatever. That is a challenge that you have taken on, right? And then the other one is, so you've got your archetypes, you've got your what brings you joy, your challenges. Bringing all those together, that creates your superpower, right? And so you kind of go, well, this must be my purpose. Let me see if this actually does bring me joy. So like my top 2 archetypes are visionary and teacher.
Right.
right? So my goal is to have the visions to teach the people what I know. You know, me and Chin actually have the same human design, which is incredible. We're both manifesting generators, both 1-3 profiles. So for us, it's all about getting that knowledge and really understanding it, but then also going, you know what, I'm going to jump into this and see if it actually works for me. And then I can show other people how it works.
A lot of people that want to go on this journey, they may be, you know, there is people that are younger, but most of it's like, you know, you start from your mid-20s, 30s, 40s, you start questioning life, you start asking those really hard hitting questions. What is my purpose? But by the time you get to that age, you've gone through a certain level of mindset and conditioning.
Institutions.
Yeah. So now it's like, talk to me a little bit about, you know, mindset shifting. What do we need to do to be open to, because for a long time, I thought my purpose was, you know, being more creative. And as I start doing the inner work and realize actually I really get real joy from having conversations with people. But it was still difficult to kind of, because I've been conditioned to think, no, this is what you have to do. And especially in the South Asian culture, we're all conditioned to either be the bloody lawyer, accountant, or doctor, you know. So how can people make those shifts so that they're more open to really discovering what their true purpose is?
So we're all institutionalized from pretty much the moment we're born, right? Even our parents, we learn from our parents, we learn from reception, we learn from school, the government, university, right? We're all institutionalized because they want us to live in this 3D, let's call it the 3D matrix, right? It's about looking at your belief systems and then kind of unraveling your belief systems. We learn our belief systems. We don't actually, we don't inherit them, we just learn them as we grow. So we look at our belief systems and we have to unpack them. What are our limiting beliefs? How do we unpack them? Why do I believe that thing, right? And then as we unpack them, it becomes clearer and clearer. So yeah.
Anything that you could contribute, Chin, in terms of unpacking the mindset and reshifting the mind?
Yeah. So the thing is, I know a lot of people go on about mindset, but it's actually beyond your mindset.
Okay.
This is where you have to go beyond. You've got to look at what is within your unconscious and what is within your subconscious. Because when you look at it, we have these 3 levels. When it comes to the mind, you know, if I was to say to you, where's your mind? You'll just say there, right? Now, that's the physical aspect, but you've got to look at the mind from beyond just the physical aspect. You've got to look at how what is that purpose of that mind as well? What is it doing? Your mind can break you or it can make you. It can be your best friend or it can be your enemy. Okay. Now with the mindset, you've also got to look at, first of all, your environment you're in. Environment. So a lot of people, and this is something I kind of share with a lot of the individuals and audiences I speak to as well. Look at your environment. Your environment plays a massive role in how you will then think and function. It's all to do with what we call your cognition, your executive function, your ability to think. And a lot of people, because of all the conditioning and the patriarchy, the societal, all of those things from a young age, when a child is born, they're born completely pure. You know, they don't have to think a lot and they just are who they are. As they go through all the schooling system and everything, they become so, you know, into this whole, well, it has to be done this way, or it has to be done that way.
They mold us.
They mold it, right? Everyone's been molded into different areas. And I believe, and this is again I always speak from my personal opinion, because everything I've done is what I now kind of share with others, is as a mother, when I had to shift my mindset, I had to really work beyond. I had to look at the belief system, but also generationally and ancestry, what was going on behind. That's why I always say it's beyond the mindset as well. And start shifting that, start healing that, start releasing that. And then you're reprogramming. Because what happens a lot of the time is your subconscious has a completely different thought or a pattern. Consciously, you're sticking in loads of affirmations, they will go down there. They're not going deep. So to really get a deep transformation, you have to dive in deep. What you then do is when you're releasing things from your unconscious mind, your subconscious mind, by the way, 95% of your life is led through your subconscious. So only 5% or like 10% they would say, you know, it's like between 85 and 95% through your subconscious. But what would then happen is when you're trying to do all that mindset work on top, it's like sprinkling a bit of those fairy dust.
Yeah.
I've got my
Hundreds and thousands.
yeah, 100,000 sprinkles, right?
Yeah.
But what, you know, and then what that does is it comes to a certain level. It won't go deeper. So to even really shift that mindset of yours is, yes, you've got to reprogram. And when we talk about reprogram, you know, our brains, you can reprogram your neural, what we call the neural pathways.
How?
By repetition.
Okay.
Repetition is key. Consistency is key. Persistence is key. When your monkey mind comes in, when those kind of ego mind, the monkey mind, the chatter comes in, you've got to be the one who says, I'm in charge of you. Because your mind is always going to look for the worst in everything.
Yeah.
That's how the human mind has been programmed.
Yeah.
But you can reprogram it.
Right.
First, I always say you've got to dive deep to clear all that mess and that clutter. And then when you're reprogramming it, so when I work with my clients and we do the reprogramming, we also reprogramming it into their DNA as well.
Right.
But then comes the consistency and the repetition, minimum of about 30 days. You've got to be consistent.
Yeah.
Even if a negative, you know, that pattern's coming through, it's not saying, oh, shoo away. It's saying, well, thank you for showing up. You served me up until now, but I don't need this right now.
Yeah.
I am different because I know that I'm safe.
Yeah.
And I know that actually I can achieve what I want to achieve, or I can be who I am being with safety.
Yeah.
Because the mind will always try and come in, and it comes, and even when the ego comes in, I always say to people, ego is not always a bad thing. It comes in from a place of protection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that's how I would, that's what I would add in, because then that's another layer.
Wow. Wow. Like you guys, like you wanted to make shifts in your life, be prepared to get deep. Like, oh my God.
But you know what? I always say when that deep transformation happens, when I've shifted to this level, I'm now able to support my children, and I'm able to support them in the right way.
Yeah.
So that they don't have to then do this level of stuff when they're older. Of course, they're on their own journey.
Yeah.
But when I teach them these foundations from now,
Yeah.
what it does, it creates that ripple effect.
Yeah.
They will start shifting what they think,
Yeah.
how they think,
Yeah.
what they're taking on board.
Of course.
And we've been put on the planet
And
to
we've
do
been
that
doing,
work.
you know,
right?
we want to, not, it's not just about raising the consciousness and the vibration of the planet. For me, it's so much more deeper than that. I'm like, I want the next generation to feel authentic. I want them to be in their power. I want them to feel like, do you know what, they can be who they are without feeling any guilt, without the criticism, without the judgment, without the shame.
Wow.
Because that's how we're going to, when you look at what's going on externally in the world, when there's chaos going on, you can see there's a lot of wounded people.
Yeah.
And this is where the ego comes in a lot. But if you can teach the next generation of how to be and how to function from your soul, when there's community, it's not about I, it's about we.
Yeah.
And when you bring that mindset of we into this, and actually even individually, when, you know, I say this to the audience, when you're sitting at home working on your mindset, remember, it's not just you. You've got your spiritual team. You've got your inner child that is still within you.
Yeah.
You are a we. You're a not an I.
Exactly. So one thing that keeps coming up, and I'll be very, very frank and honest, something is happening in my relationship with my husband as well, is masculine energy and feminine energy. And I noticed that when I'm deep diving into myself, I've had to be in my masculine energy since a very young age with everything that I've had to go through. And I didn't realize, because obviously I didn't know such things existed. And so that carried on to the relationships that I have in the current relationship that I'm in at the moment, where I feel like I'm always in my masculine. I'm the one that's saying where we're going to eat, what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. I'm the one that's making the decisions. And I'm always enforcing my power, because that's just how naturally I've been from a really young age without even thinking. And doing the inner work, I've realized I'm tired.
Exhausted.
I'm exhausted of carrying all this pressure and being the one to always make the decisions and be that. And I feel like we come from an era like you have to be a boss, you have to hustle mindset, grind mindset. And I'm like, no, I want to be in my soft girl era now. I don't want to do that. Yeah, I want to feel motivated and I want to reach my milestones, but not with this inside of me.
Yeah, we don't all have to be boss babes all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
I'm tired. So I really want to talk about that. And I really want to focus on the masculinity and femininity within a relationship, and women out there that may feel the same like me. How can they make the shift?
So I totally hear you.
Yeah.
Resonate with that as well. And it's, again, something that we've observed from our mothers, from our grandmothers. Yes, there were probably a little bit in the feminine, like either there'd be homekeepers or whatever, but they were still in their masculine.
Yeah.
And again, it comes through all the way down from society, patriarchy, all of that, where years and over 5,000 years ago, women's, the whole of women's true essence was taken away from them.
Yeah.
So everybody, and then when the masculine energy had come in, it was all around where everyone has to be better than each other. Everyone has to hustle hard, grind hard. And that's what happens even in the corporate world. There's always about how can you get higher on the ladder. Now, a couple of things that I can always, I'm happy to definitely share with you based on what you've shared with your experience, especially when it comes into a relationship. I get it, because I used to experience the same. I'm like, okay, I need to take a step back because, I was too much in the masculine, but then it was like, how? How do I take a step back? How do I nurture? Now, one thing I want every woman to know is every woman goes through their monthly cycle. Women are designed to function according to the lunar cycle. That is your, the waxing moon, the waning moon, the new moon, the full moon, all of that.
Right.
So women stepping into your divine feminine is all about harnessing that masculine and feminine within you.
Right.
And just like the moon phases go, women go through a stage of hibernation, allowing themselves to be, nurtured and looked after. And then they also go into a space of creation. They also go into a space of fierce protection as well.
Okay.
That's all part of being your divine feminine. It's not just about just lay back, Cleopatra style, people serving you. This is about accessing both. And it's really the couple of things that, people can do is look at you as a person and just jot it down, like create like a, just make it a creative thing. Where in your life, like, do you really step into what the masculine roles are, where you're either constantly taking the decisions, where you're taking control of everything. There's like a lot of women, and I say women, even I used to be that person, always wanted to control because we knew the outcome.
Yeah.
Now to step into your feminine means you surrender. You surrender into the unknown, and that's where fear comes in.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is why you work with somebody, again, through it all. But to step into your feminine also means, how do you nurture yourself? What are your own boundaries you're putting up for yourself, your self-care?
Yeah.
Self-love, self-care is two massive parts of stepping into your divine feminine. And when I talk about self-love, I'm not just saying go out, get your nails done, get your bubble bath. Doing the deep work is a biggest part of self-love and discipline. Okay? So look at where you are in your life right now.
Yeah.
What is it as a child you did not receive? What is it that you did not receive, which is what's enabled you to step into this whole kind of protective, masculine kind of energy. Look at that, and then start saying, okay, that feminine, that sacred feminine is somebody who's a bit more soft. How can I be more soft with myself?
But bringing it back to relationships, a lot of the time I feel like I can't be in my feminine until he is in his masculine. Am I looking at things the wrong way?
So I just wanted to add to what Chin was saying. Like the way we've been brought up in our culture or even society is that women have been brought up to be so independent, yet our counterparts, our brothers, our cousins, and they've been brought up to be that the Raja of the family, right? So like they've been treated like a king in the family, right? We've been told, right, go to school, get your degree, become independent, have your own money, so that actually a man doesn't need to look after you. But on the flip side, they've actually made the man not want to step into that masculine role.
Yeah.
So we've become these independent women that are hustling, that are using our masculinity to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
And then these men come along, like in your relationship, they don't know how to deal with us.
Yeah.
Because actually the same mother that's raised him has also raised the daughter, which is completely opposite to what they want. They've treated that son so with so much like cotton wool, that which they haven't done for the daughter, because they want her to be independent. They don't want to be abused or used or whatever it is. And now we're trying to bring this unmasculine, well, slightly less masculine male and a very masculine female together. But like Chin said, it's all about really looking inwards and looking at yourself, who you are. And we, three of us here, have a dominant masculine probably nature about us, but we're leaning further into our feminine. And that's all about leaning to lead with your intuition, right? And receiving and accepting and maybe not rushing in to book that date and kind of just hinting or doing the little things.
You've got to be a little bit black and white with them. You've got to say, actually, can I hand this over to you? And then you have to step back, having that trust that actually now you've handed that over, letting go of the outcome. Okay. The communication is key, because a lot of the time that's what creates a lot of the breakdowns, because there's a lot of assumptions going on.
Yes.
And I always say, don't assume, because you make an ass out of you and me.
Exactly.
Don't assume. I always say, you know what, communication is a big thing. The way I did it was, I said to my husband, actually, do you know what? Can I now hand this over to you?
Yeah.
And then I had to work on myself to allow myself to detach from how's it going to look like. Is it going to get it done like this? Is it going to be on time? Is it going to be specific like this? You have to then step into your feminine to say, do you know what? I've asked my man to do this. And I've now allowed him. I'm going to now allow him to deal with it and let me just enjoy it.
But what if he doesn't do it the way that you want, or
he's never going to do it the way you want
it? No one's ever going to do anything the way you want.
You're just going to accept that he's going to do it the best that he can do it for you.
And it's the acceptance and actually the gratitude and the abundance comes from that space as well. How grateful am I that actually, do you know what? He's made that food today. Yes, it's not exactly how I would do it. I'm so grateful that actually, do you know what? I'm nourished today. So my husband's he's prepared and given me that nourishment. I feel abundant.
And let him treat you like a queen, right? Let him go, this is my offering to you, and treat you like a queen. And don't be like, well, that wasn't good enough, love.
Because the criticisms come in then.
And how, as women, can we help our like, if we're leaning into our feminine and we're doing that over the time, obviously he'll be leaning into his masculine because he knows that he's nurturing us in a way that goes within our grain. What, like, is that the process? Is there anything I can be doing to be helping him step into masculine, or is that his own journey?
That's his own journey.
Okay.
And remember, the masculine within our own self, again, that relationship side will work. You won't even have to do a lot of work with it once you do the work with yourself. Once you allow the masculine within you to hold that space for your feminine, then naturally you will see that happen in your relationship.
I think as women, like, even just hearing myself ask you that question out loud, I can hear the control. Oh, but how can I help him?
And he'll automatically want to step in.
Yeah.
The man always wants to look after the woman. You're his queen. He's your king.
Yeah.
He wants to look after you.
Yeah.
But if you're looking after him all the time, you're going to make him feel like a small child.
Yeah.
So step back. Exactly what Chin is saying. Step back.
Yeah.
Let him show you what he can do. And yes, communicate, but also sometimes little hints don't go amiss.
Yeah.
I like red roses.
Yeah.
On specific dates.
Exactly. It's our anniversary next week. Hint, hint.
But and you know, this is that's a very key thing about stepping into your divine feminine, is knowing that actually you can be the soft, nurturing, feminine, creative. You know, we're very speaking about the divine feminine, that could be another whole episode.
Yeah.
But that is very much connected to our wombs, which is then the lunar cycle and stuff. So you're very connected. But that masculine is then there to hold that space, and you honor that masculine within yourself to say, do you know what? Thank you for holding that space for me.
Yeah.
Thank you for allowing me to grow during that time. And that's how in a relationship, your partner will then hold that space for you as you're rising and as you're growing and as you're expanding.
It's definitely something I'm going to work on.
And don't forget that being in your divine feminine does not mean being weak.
No,
Yes.
it's
fierce.
strength. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, because you've got the masculine and feminine in you. And the feminine power, like Kush said, is not just the soft. It is. Women can be fierce.
Yeah.
Right? When we look at even our avatars of our goddesses, Navratri, 9 nights.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ma Durga, she took on 9 forms to kill the demon, right? Look at all the 9 forms. Embrace those 9 forms within your feminine self.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited to do that.
Yeah.
And just kind of, loosen the reins a little bit,
That will be a prompt for you, Sabrina,
Exactly.
every time. You loosen the reins a little
Loosen
bit.
the reins, Sabrina. Just let him get on with it. It's fine. Don't
Yeah.
worry if the chicken is burnt. It's okay.
There's always the takeaway.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Something that's really key that I feel that's super important to talk about is abundance. And I feel like when people hear the word abundance, they think of wealth. And I'm trying to get abundance in all aspects of my life, relationships, health, and all the rest of it. How can we attain more abundance in all aspects of our life? I know that this is really linked to manifestation. I know manifestation is so much more than just writing your wants and asking the universe. So let's deep dive into that a little bit more.
So I think the first thing with abundance is actually being grateful for what you have today. So one of the things I get my clients to do is actually write down their grateful list, right? What are you grateful for? And in the morning, before your day starts, and at the end of the day, right? Then you can see actually you've got abundance coming from everywhere. Abundance isn't necessarily money. So for example, somebody may give you something out of pure love. That is abundance. It came from nowhere, but the universe made it happen for you.
Right.
So it isn't just money. And then with love, like I am single, unlike you 2 ladies. Lucky ladies. But for me, love comes from so many different forms. Like love comes from my parents, comes from my friends, comes from my sisters, comes from my nephew. That is abundance of love. And if I can revel in that love, then eventually I'm going to attract and manifest the man of my dreams who's going to fly me away on a jet somewhere, right? That's abundance too. So yeah, it's all about being grateful for what you have today in order to be able to attract more of it. Because they say like attracts like. It's the law of attraction, right? If you can't attract what, if you're not appreciating this beautiful cup of jar you made me, how am I going to get more beautiful cups of tea in my life?
Yeah.
So it's all about being grateful now, which I'm sure that Chin can expand on that as well.
100%. 100%. So, one of the, again, really simple things that people take for granted, the fact you can see.
Yeah.
Not many people know, but I've only got half vision in my right eye.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So the gratitude actually that, every morning, I've got another day. I get to see, I get to live my life another day. Yes, there may be challenges, but do you know what? I'm so grateful that I've got my health.
Yeah.
I've got my vision. I've got my senses. I've got my beautiful home. My children are healthy. All areas of my life. We may not be where we want to be, but it is. I always say, look for and Ush will tell you, because and you're part of that. My WhatsApp community group.
Yeah.
Look for your magic and miracles in your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Go and look for it, because the more you focus on that rather than lack, the more abundance you will start attracting. Now, when it comes to wealth, it's not just financial wealth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your wealth in relationship is the biggest wealth. What is that relationship with yourself like?
Yeah.
Everything else, your success comes from the relationship you have with yourself. So as soon as when people say wealth, money, I'm like, right, let's track back. Because what happens is in a very simple form is we all have, imagine like a round circle.
Right.
Within that round circle, you've got another small circle. So between these 2 circles, that vortex, the money wealth is there, the health wealth is there, everything's there.
Yeah.
But in that middle circle, which is round, if those pieces of abundance is in a triangular shape, yet that internal atom molecule is only taking in square shape, can you see? It doesn't match.
Yeah.
So therefore, your manifestations are not going to come to life. That's why you do have to do the deep transformational inner work in order for you to really, truly attract the abundance and manifestation. However, saying that, a lot of people who are experiencing health problems, for example, and again, I speak this from my own personal experience, there was times I couldn't get out of bed.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, just think positive and raise your vibration. That wouldn't work because of how you were feeling. But what then works is I started to focus on what is it that I do have. Yes, at the moment my health wasn't great and I was in bed a lot of the time, but I was so grateful that my husband's health was amazing.
Yeah.
He was able to, you know, look after the kids whilst I was recovering. I had family and friends around who were able to support me. So it always comes back to the most simple, basic things is start being grateful for what you do have.
Yeah.
And look for the magic and miracles in your life every single day. And if somebody has got what you want, don't sit there thinking, oh, I wish I had that. Do you know what? Express your gratitude for them having it. The more you express your gratitude and say, do you know what? Genuinely, I feel so happy that they've got that.
Yeah.
You are saying, you're sending that vibrational frequency to the universe to say, do you know what? This is what even I want.
Wow.
So another thing to add to that is actually use the word and.
Yeah.
So I am grateful for you having this beautiful life, this beautiful studio,
Yeah.
and I can have it too.
Yeah.
Not, but I want that. You know, I'm
Yeah.
envious. Like, I'm so happy for you and.
Yeah.
Always think and,
Wow.
right? So never go, you know, you've got it, I'm jealous. That's not how it works at all.
Wow.
If you send the envious energy out,
Yeah.
that's all you're going to attract. Universe doesn't hear your words.
Yeah.
It's hearing your frequency and your vibration.
Yeah.
This is where energy work comes in a lot because you're shifting your vibrational energy. For me to get to where I'm now, after years and years of being like 20 to 30 medications a day, and now I don't even take a paracetamol,
Wow.
it took all of that work.
Yeah.
But I was grateful for those people around me who were really healthy. And I'm like, do you know what? If they've got it, even I can have it.
Yeah. My key takeaways from this conversation, and it's been like mind blowing at points, you know, and I've learned so much about myself and so much I'm going to implement into my life. And I hope you guys have learned something and are going to take a few nuggets and implement them into your own life. Please do drop in the comments things that have really resonated with you. But my key takeaways is that to create abundance in whatever aspect in your life, start being grateful for what you have already.
Yeah.
I'm going to lean more into my femininity and I'm going to let hubby do his thing and be grateful for that.
Yes.
You know, and I'm going to sit with the fact that doing the inner work can be messy, but hey, that's okay.
It's okay.
And it's safe.
Yeah, and
If
it's
you
safe
do it
to
with the right
so.
support, it is safe to do it.
Absolutely.
And it's not forever.
Yeah.
You know, yes, there's peaks, there's waves, but that initial part, once you get through, and when other situations start occurring in your life, yes, you may feel a bit off, but the time it takes you to get over it is going to be so much quicker than what it would have before.
Yeah. Thank you so much today, ladies, for being on the Sabrina Show, bringing your knowledge and your wisdom. It's been amazing. Thank you everyone so much for joining us today. I hope you take something from it. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and enable notifications. If you have anything that's resonated, drop it in the comments and don't forget to smash the notifications button. Thank you for watching.